Thank you for coming. Welcome to our webinar series, Don't Go Broke in a Nursing Home. In the last segment, we discussed the first hurdle of Medi-Cal, that being eligibility, and what is required to be eligible, which involved the look-back period and the penalty periods. We got into the fact that Medi-Cal is state-specific and various of its details. In this segment, we're going to introduce you again to the three hurdles of Medi-Cal and discuss in detail the second one. How much does Medi-Cal pay, and the minimum monthly maintenance needs allowance. Then in a subsequent session, we'll discuss the last one. Oh my gosh, it's a loan, it's not a gift. They want their money back. In this segment, we're going to confine ourselves to how much will Medi-Cal pay. You may remember that Medi-Cal is generally limited to skilled nursing facilities, not assisted living, not in-home care, typically. Medi-Cal has thousands of different programs. The one which we're talking about today, the one in which I'm expert, is the long-term care program. And that, of course, requires us to define long-term care for our purposes. Medicare, the program that almost everyone who is over 65 in this country has as their health insurance, pays for skilled nursing facilities for up to 100 days, maybe less, depending on the circumstances, sometimes not at all depending on the circumstances. So for our purposes, our definition of long-term care is anything beyond what Medicare will pay, anything beyond that time period, if any, that Medicare will pay for skilled nursing. Medi-Cal is California's version of what most other states call Medicaid, but remember, it is state-specific. No state's rules are the same. They are all different. Acute and subacute care in a skilled nursing facility can really cost a lot, $10,000 to $20,000 a month and up. If there is any veterans benefit, it'll be a drop in the bucket. And what makes Medi-Cal so attractive is that it pays an unlimited amount monthly. So let's talk about the three hurdles. Qualification, which we talked about in our last segment. Today's subject, how much will Medi-Cal pay, often referred to as the share of cost. And in a subsequent segment, it's a loan, it's not a gift. They really do want their money back. So how much will Medi-Cal pay, or the share of cost? Well, if you're single, subject to a very small exception that isn't really worth discussing, all income of that single person goes to the skilled nursing facility, and then Medi-Cal will pay the rest. If you're a married couple, oftentimes all of the income can often be saved for the well spouse, and Medi-Cal will pay it all. And when I say oftentimes, I mean a lot of the time. You may need to go to court for this, but it can still oftentimes be done, and Medi-Cal pays the shortage. Well, let's take an example. In this case, we've got a husband and wife. One is disabled, that's the DS, disabled spouse, and the other is the well spouse, WS, well spouse. Doesn't matter whether that's husband or wife or which is which. So we have disabled spouse and well spouse, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. Now in this example, the income for the most part is disabled spouses. You'll see the disabled spouse's income over here, $7,000 in Social Security and pension. The well spouse, she only has $750 Social Security. That's it. Okay, so that's the circumstances that we're working with. Now, Medi-Cal recognizes that the well spouse needs something by which to support herself, and that's what we call this thing down here, the minimum monthly maintenance needs allowance, which we're going to refer to, kind of abbreviate, the triple MNA. Now, in 2014, that is $2,931. So that's the minimum monthly maintenance needs allowance, or the triple MNA. Now, to understand this, you need to realize that basically all of disabled spouse's income is going to go to the facility for care, and then Medi-Cal is going to pay the rest if there's a shortage. So if we have $7,000 of charges from the skilled nursing facility, that's going to eat up all of the disabled spouse's income, and from the well spouse, it's going to be lost. From her perspective, it's not there, it's lost. Now, in this case, the well spouse only has $750 of income, so her income does not come up to the triple MNA of $2,931. It's short of that. So she is allowed to take that shortage from the disabled spouse. So the difference between 2931 and 750, which is the well spouse's Social Security income, is $2,181. You can see that she takes that from the disabled spouse's side of the ledger, puts it onto her side of the ledger. Now, why is that important? Well, that's important because of the share of cost. Remember, all of disabled spouse's income, for all practical purposes, is going to be the share of cost that has to be paid to the facility. Well, if we remove 2181, then instead of the full 7,000, it's only going to be $4,819. That becomes the share of cost rather than 7,000. So that's pretty significant. Now, that's certainly better than a full $7,000, but if you're used to $7,750 of income, which this couple was and this well spouse was, you're going to have a problem supporting yourself on the $2,931 per month. So that gets us over to what a specialist attorney can do. Again, we have the same $7,000 of income for the disabled spouse, $750 for the well spouse. The triple MNA is what we call the minimum amount, the minimum monthly maintenance needs allowance. In other words, it can be increased by court order with the help of a specialist attorney. So if this couple uses a specialist attorney, they obtain a court order changing everything to a $5,500 triple MNA, then we remove the $5,500 from the disabled spouse's side, put it over to the well spouse's side, because this was the support order, and now we've got $6,250 down here on the well spouse's side. We've removed it from the disabled spouse's side, reducing the disabled spouse's income to $1,500, and that becomes the share of cost, $1,500, not what we had before. So let's take a look at the dramatic difference. Yes, it required a court order and legal services to get it done, but look at this dramatic difference if you use a specialist attorney. This would increase the well spouse's income each and every month from without a plan, $2,931, to with a specialist attorney, $6,250. That's a $3,300 per month turnaround. If we assume a life expectancy of 3 years or 36 months, that's almost $120,000. That's a lot of money. Very simple question. Which do you want to be? The $2,931 per month person or the $6,250 per month person? I think that the answer to that is pretty simple. So what is it that we do? Well, we offer a complimentary Medi-Cal eligibility assessment. It's done by phone, so you don't even have to leave your house. Now, we do limit it to those with some type of a California connection, someone who's resident here in this state, or there's real estate here, something that connects with California. Well, if we're talking about what is free, then obviously there must be a flip side to the coin, what is not free. Some of you are going to need help to become eligible. In other words, you're not eligible as we sit here today, but you can become eligible. We figure from our live workshops that about 15 to 20% of you are going to need help. You're going to need help in a legal perspective or a financial perspective to make this happen. These services are not free. However, you will be informed of any fees you need to pay prior to having any obligation. So it's completely above board and transparent. So here's a little bit about me. I was admitted to the state bar in 1974. I think point 2 and 3 are important because it indicates that I'm specialized. I'm not a jack of all trades. I just don't think one can do everything and know everything. I want people to get top-notch solutions, and the only way I believe that can be done is if one specializes in only a few areas. You can see my background. I've been a teacher, I've been an author, I've been a columnist. I'm accredited by the VA. There is my accreditation number if you want to look me up. And I've been involved in helping families not to go broke in a nursing home, literally for decades. Here's one of my columns that I wrote in the early 90s about Medi-Cal. It appeared in the Blade Citizen, which at that time was the largest regional newspaper in San Diego County. That paper later morphed into the North County Times, which since has morphed into the San Diego Union Tribune. I wrote for the Blade Citizen and the North County Times for 15 years, one column a week. This is one of them. Notice the title, Irrevocable Trust Can Avoid Medi-Cal Claim. So I'm not a Johnny-come-lately to this field. I've been in it at least since the early 90s. Now, if you do want to read more about me, you can find my full resume under the About tab on this website. Now, I do want to caution you, this field is complex and complicated. It's difficult to do on your own. Those who have tried often make mistakes, which can cost the family tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. That being in penalty periods during which Medi-Cal will not pay a penny to even the loss of the family home. So this really is a team effort. Who's on the team? Well, we'd like to be of assistance to you. The staff at the facility certainly will be pleased to help. And of course you, because we cannot do it without you helping you. But together we can make it happen. So please do take us up on our offer for a complimentary Telcon assessment. Our contact information is on the bottom of the slide you are looking at right now. Of course, if you're not quite ready to get started yet, this website is a great place to start your research for estate planning, estate administration, Medi-Cal, veterans benefits, and many other things. Lots of great information. We do look forward to having you back for the subsequent segments on Don't Go Broke in a Nursing Home, in which we will discuss the third hurdle of Medi-Cal, that being, oh my gosh, it's a loan, it's not a gift. They want their money back. Thanks for listening.